What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of Beeple Reactions. Today, before we get into today's video, we obviously have to give a shout out to Mr. Beeple himself. Link is in the description to his artwork. He's the artist behind the most expensive NFT to have ever been sold. It is one supreme image combined together, 5,000 supreme images combined together to make one supreme big special image, and each image has its own story and it's so cool. And when you put them all together, it makes this one massive image, and they're all color coordinated with each other, and it is just genius artwork. Check it out for yourself. And this is the whole purpose of this channel. We look at each individual image, analyze it, see what we can figure out from it. And if you didn't know, you should know by now that these Beeple images are going to be like the new holy book of the world, the new religion of this whole new Web3 and this new generation of technology. And if you don't believe me, check them out for yourself. It will blow your mind. But anyways, today's video is called Not the Droids You're Looking For. I'm going to put the image right here. And my god, this image is so graphic. Like, looking at this image is actually making me feel quite uncomfortable. Just look at that eyeball. So this is an image which is showing certain Star Wars characters. As I said, I've never seen the Star Wars movies, but within a lot of Beeple images he references Star Wars characters, especially Yoda. There's so much use of this character known as Yoda. So you've got Yoda, you've got these little machines. I used to know the name of them, but I'm just going to call them the little robots. But they're from Star Wars as well. I've seen them in Star Wars. You've got some little robots who are on the ground. I don't know what type of ground this is. It looks like it could be a desert sort of area. It looks like it could be a whole nother planet. Who knows? But they've got their claws within the ground, and it seems like they're sucking up blood. There's like 2 or 3 of them. They've got their claws in the ground and there's just blood all around them. So they could be, oh my god. Anyways, we'll get into the interpretations after. First, let's talk about exactly what can we see in this image. So we've got Yoda, a massive Yoda head. You don't see the rest of his body, just his head. He's probably decapitated, and his whole eye is missing. His whole right eye looks like it was just surgically removed, and there was no replacement in place of it. And then you've got this one little robot on top of his head, flipping, draining out some of his brain juices. There's blood flowing from the robot who's on top of him. So this image is extremely graphic. It's extremely violent. This video is not for the young people. If you're a young person, click off, go watch another one of my videos. It can still be educational, but this one right here, this one's for the adults. Now, I really do need to watch these Star Wars films so I can get a better understanding of these Star Wars characters. But looking at Yoda, of course I've heard of Yoda. I've seen Yoda in advertisements. I've seen him in cartoons. He's this old character from Star Wars. He has a very old man's voice. He's known for being very wise and having a lot of skills. He's also a warrior. He knows how to fight. And he's quite a character. He can be funny at times. And he's like this short green old man. And he's very important within the Star Wars trilogy. And Yoda, as I said, he's always reminded me of an old man. When I think of Yoda, I think of an old man. And why is he green? Lord knows. I don't know. Why is this man green? I always think about it. Why is Yoda green? Imagine Yoda wasn't green and he had normal looking skin color. He'd look like a normal old man. Some old men have massive ears. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Yoda, within his use within Beeple, because Yoda is shown again and again within Beeple, I think every time you see Yoda, that means an old person, specifically an old man. Yoda represents an old man. And you've got all these little robots around this old man. You've got little robots surrounding him. You've got one on top of him, and it's quite clear from what we can interpret from this image that it was these little robots who are responsible for Yoda's eye being removed, for the old man's eye being removed. Now, what does this all mean? How can we interpret this particular image? What is it all trying to show? Because as you know, within every Beeple image, there's a story being told, there's some sort of modern relevance to it, and there's always a deeper meaning behind each and every Beeple image. And it takes time to actually figure it out. Sometimes you look at a Beeple image and from the jump you know, okay, that's what it means, that's what it's trying to show, that's what it's conveying, that's what it's referring to. Then there's other Beeple images where you really have to study it, you have to speak about it, you have to look into it for a bit longer in order to understand it. And as I've just said that, I've just realized something real gross. Oh my god, and I can't unsee it. If you look at Yoda's eye, the decapitated eye, the eye with the blood all around it, if you look deeper into it, it looks a bit like a human fetus. Like if you've ever seen a picture of like a fetus within the womb or a fetus coming out the womb, that's what it looks like. It looks like a baby who's covered in blood. Bro, that is very, very gross. I'm not gonna lie. That is gross, fam. So these little robots, who are these little robots? What are these little robots? I think, okay, this is how I'm gonna interpret this image. This is what I've understood from it so far, and this is just my personal opinion, my personal interpretation. As I said, I'm not Beeple himself, I'm not God, I don't know the exact answer. This is just my estimate. Sorry, my interpretation. I think Yoda represents an old man, and I believe the little robots represents young people of today's world. Modern young people, modern children in today's world, the new millennium. You know, these children who have grown up with technology, grown up with iPads in their hands, grown up with phones in their pockets, grown up watching television. I mean, the older generation did also watch television, but it wasn't like it is today. They wasn't watching it religiously. They weren't watching it for hours and hours. There wasn't enough content. There wasn't enough quality to keep people captivated for hours and hours. You know, now and again you'd get with your family, you might watch a little movie together, or you might watch the football match together. But the way it is today, where kids will sit in front of the TV for hours and hours, it never used to be like that. You know, nowadays we have HD, we have colored TVs, we have so many options. It's not just, hey man, whatever channel comes on is whatever you get to watch. Nowadays you've got Netflix, you've got Prime, you've got Paramount Pictures, you've got so many different platforms where you can watch whatever you feel like watching according to your choice, according to your command. The freedom of viewing is just on a different level. So, you know, these children have grown up with the next generation of television. These children have grown up with these smartphones which get all your personal information, all your data. You know, they know everything about you. They've probably got, you know what I'm saying, they've got your most intimate pictures. These smartphones know everything about you. They collect all your data, and these children are dealing with these smartphones from a young age. And these smartphones are, as much as you're studying your smartphones are also studying you. And you're looking at your smartphone's looking right back at you. You're playing games with the smartphone, your smartphone's also playing games with you. So, you know, what we have to understand about these phones is that they're studying us just as much as we're studying them, if not more. So yeah, back to what I was saying, the younger generation have grown up with technology. They've grown up with, you know, all these robotic things, social media, and you all know what I'm talking about. So the fact that they're being depicted as little robots within this image, obviously these are the little robots from Star Wars, but what they represent is small children, and what Yoda represents is an old man. So I believe what this image is trying to show is, in modern days, an old man looking upon the younger generation. An old man looking upon the younger generation in today's world and today's day and age. Can I please have a round of applause? I think I've just figured this image out so well. So, and his eye, one of his eyes is completely decapitated. Not to say that every old man who looks at young people being immersed in their technologies and lost in their technologies has an eye missing. Not every old man is Nick Fury, but in a metaphorical sense, that the old man can see. Old people can see young people immersed in these technologies, and they feel very deeply, it hurts them in their hearts, it hurts them in their eyes. They truly, truly worry about the younger generation. I've heard elderly people, retired people say again and again, I'm so worried about the younger generation. Today's world, the climate is not safe. These technologies are too radical. We worry about the younger generation. So I believe that blood within his eye represents the pain of seeing young people being immersed in this technology from the perspective of someone who never really grew up seeing it as much, Trains were a lot slower back then. Most people didn't have cars. Most people didn't have motor vehicles. People certainly didn't have phones. No such thing as social media. No such thing as iPads. Artificial intelligence, what even is that? That's the generation they grew up in. People were still person to person. People knew how to talk to each other. This whole concept of awkwardness was minimal. Even people who are awkward still had confidence. Nowadays, people who are awkward are just straight up. You ain't getting nothing out of them. But the older generation are seeing what technology is doing to the younger generation. They're seeing how this younger generation is immersed into it. They're seeing how, the younger generation have just sucked it up. Literally, like, you can see these little robots just sucking up everything around them. Sucking up blood everywhere. These younger generation are trained, they are indoctrinated, they are brainwashed into just soaking up all of this new technology, soaking up all of these agendas that are being pushed upon them. And they're just children, children, their brains are like sponges. Like whatever's being fed to them, whatever's being told to them, whatever they're being given, they're just going to embrace it. They're not going to think too much about it, and they're just going to accept it for what it is. Like when I was growing up, when I was a little kid, and I saw my first smartphone, and I saw my first iPad, and I was quite young, but I just thought it was a normal. I never really thought about the deep aspect of it, of what are these things that we're playing with. All I used to think was, oh look, game, and I was so fascinated by the game. I wasn't thinking about anything else. Now I'm a bit older, I start thinking about things like, yo, what is this technology? Where did this knowledge come from? I certainly don't believe there's any man out here who is smart enough and genius enough to have come up with these inventions on his own accord. Even a team of men, I believe there's some supernatural forces at play, but that's a whole nother topic. That's not for YouTube. But, where have these technologies come from? They've taken over everyone. They've indoctrinated all of us, and it's not a choice. People act as if technology is a choice, but the way society is nowadays, it's not a choice. There's so many jobs where you need to own a smartphone in order to do your job. You're being constantly contacted, constantly WhatsApp messaged, and you need a phone. During this whole coronavirus, we saw the importance of owning your own computer. A lot of children whose households did not own laptops or computers had to go and buy themselves a laptop or computer just so they could attend their online lessons. So you all get what I'm trying to say. The younger generation are all caught up in technology, and the older generation can see that more than anyone because they never grew up with technology. So it's like Yoda looking upon these little robots. They're like little robots from the perspective of the old man. Back in the old man's days, the children, they would go up, they would speak to everyone, they would approach everyone, they would be a lot more social, and the kids would just seemed a lot more alive. Whereas nowadays, with all this technology, there's a lot of kids who are just antisocial. They just want to sit there with their phone in their hand. The light that they emit is very dim compared to the type of light that our children should be given off. So I think that's what this image is trying to show. Now, what we didn't touch on is the blood coming out of Yoda's, is the blood leaking onto the floor, and how the little robots seem to be sucking up the blood, leeching up the blood. Now, this is a bit of a wild interpretation and a wild guess, but perhaps that could mean, turning old people into memes, old people saying stuff like, what is this technology and what is all this and blah blah blah, and the younger generation sucking up that blood. Like, this is real pain that the old man is feeling, this is real grief, real sorrow, but the younger generation look at it as a joke. They'll make memes about it, they'll make TikToks about it, they'll make it into a fun online joke. And I think that's what's being shown by the little robots sucking up the blood. Them making memes about serious topics. And I'm not saying they should, I'm not saying they shouldn't, I'm just saying that's my interpretation of perhaps why these little robots, these young children, seem to be, extracting blood from whatever surface this is. And in this image, how many robots is there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 robots. Interpret that how you want. There's just blood leaking everywhere, blood leaking from the eye, blood leaking from the mouth, blood leaking from the head. That represents the old man, the pain of the old man, the tears of the old man, and the sorrow that old people hold. What we have to understand is that the old people of today are not like the old people from the past. The same way us young people from today, we're not like the young people from the past. That we are in a way, but as in how we've grown up and the type of things we've seen and what we've been exposed to is different. Not saying it's bad or worse, but it's different. The same way the old people of today are very different to the old people of past. Because the old people of the past, who are probably passed away now, they never had to see the younger generation becoming indoctrinated into technology or being on phones or smartphones. They died before the millennium. They died before they started seeing all of this stuff. So the older generation today, they are seeing some real stuff. They're seeing technology from a perspective that none of us can see it, because we've never lived a long life. Me personally, I'm still in my 20s, I'm still young. I've been exposed to technology, I've seen it, but I haven't seen it for what it truly is, because I haven't reached that old age. When I reach that old age, when I've lived my whole life, done everything there is to do, got married, had children, when I've done all of that, and then I can look back at my life and see what technology was, that's when I'll know what it really is. So this older generation of today has really seen what technology is. They've really seen what it's all about. And it brings them a lot of pain. It brings them a lot of suffering. So that's why, man, respect your elders. Treat your elders well. Take care of old people. It's so rewarding. Probably the most rewarding things you could do. If you have old people in your life, your grandparents, whatever, try to be there for them. Try to take care of them. If they can't take care of themselves, do stuff for them. And you'll be rewarded for it, If you believe in karma, if you believe in God, God will reward you for it. There's so many old people out here, and nearly every old person, I promise you, nearly every old person, after they reach a certain age, they are being neglected, they are being mistreated, they're not getting enough, Treating old people good, it doesn't come from wanting to do a right thing. It comes from a place of respect, out of respect for that person's life, out of respect for them reaching old age. You should, try to take care of them. If you personally want to live a long life, you need to take care of old people. That's the truth. You need to be there for old people. You need to respect them. You need to take care of them. if you personally want to live a long life yourself. And anyone who doesn't want to live a long life, they're a clown. They're probably lost in some type of self-pity. They've gone through something, they're feeling way too much self-pity, and they don't care if they die, they don't care if they throw a life away. Anyone who's got their mind intact, anyone who's real wants to live a long life, and the best way is probably to just respect your elders who have actually done that, who have actually lived a long life, and understand that the old people of today are seeing the reality of technology. They're seeing it for what it truly is. They're seeing these kids looking like little robots trained to just drain everything they go around. And yeah, this topic is deeper. This picture is a lot deeper, but I think I've figured out the meaning. I'm glad we figured it out together on this video. And yeah, man, that's all I have to say about that. It's a deeper one, but the lesson that we can all learn from this image is respect your elders, take care of the elderly. And on that note, make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Let's get the views up, let's get the subscribers up. And yeah, till next time.